What's going on, everyone? It's Mike back again, and more transfer news. It's literally the 4th of January and Everton have completed their second signing of the season. And before we go into that, and before we start touching on the player and his capabilities and what he can do and what he can't do, let's really talk about how this is different from Everton. This is different from Everton for numerous reasons, but you know, Marcel Brands, when he was the director of football at Everton, was very guilty of signing players late. We saw it 2 years ago or 18 months ago when we bought in Allen and Decore and James Rodriguez, all bought in sort of a week or 2 weeks before deadline day, when we were saying that we need these players in early so we can adapt the system, and that's what's happened. You know, we saw it in the window in August. We saw that we were bringing in players fairly early. We didn't leave anything really last minute apart from Solomon Rondon. And in January we've moved even quicker. And today's signing is, in my opinion, a really great prospect for Everton Football Club. 20-year-old Nathan Patterson from Rangers, a player that is a Scottish international. Has proven time and time again that he can play on big occasions, i.e. he's played in the Europa League. He scored a really important goal for Scotland. And again, as one of the things that Everton fans, and you know, I think we all would say that we like, he's a real hard worker. He's a real grafter. You know, he'll defend as much as he'll go forward. He can beat people. He's got that little bit of pace and that little bit of ability with his feet. But he's also prepared to slide in and make a challenge. And look, he's 20 years old. There's going to be mistakes. There's going to be times where, you know, you so want to see him and you want to see him progress. And maybe you might not have that maturity yet. He hasn't played loads of games for Rangers because, you know, their best player plays in front of him. You know, Tavernier is a fantastic right back and equally a club captain. So it was very difficult for Patterson, a kid who's been at Rangers for 13 years, honed his trade. And it's just a great move for us. In terms of fees, it looks like it's about £10 million up front and probably an extra 5 or 6 million in add-ons and different bits and bobs. And I think there's a sell-on clause as well, because Rangers rated this kid really highly. The only reason he's left is because they're hindering him. He can't get into the team over Tavernier, and you can't really blame them for that because he's a really good right back. So difficult for him. He's got the opportunity with Everton. Everton wanted him in the summer. And he's going to come in and do a really good job. I'm really confident of it. I don't think he'll start all of the remaining games. I think there will be games where he's seen in and out of the side. I think you may see a loan or a permanent deal now for John Joe Kenny to leave the club in this window, because it doesn't make sense having 3 right backs. And what he will do, he will be as much of an attacking threat as he will a defender. You know, all of the things that you heard him say today, if you watched his Everton interview, he came out and he says, look, I'm a forward-thinking right back. He wants to put the ball into the box. He wants to create chances for Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison. That's exactly what I want to hear. That's music to my ears. I want to see players breaking the line, but prepared to have that, you know, that slugfest when we need it defensively. You know, that person who's going to put his body on the line. And I think Nathan Patterson ticks all of those boxes. This is genuinely a kid who I think we can be excited about. And there's a lot of Rangers fans out there that I think would agree that this is not necessarily a disappointing deal for Rangers, but they're disappointed to see a player with this talent go. For reasons are that he just couldn't get in the Rangers side because of who was in front of him, but they rate him highly. There's been no bad blood between anyone involved. Rangers have wished him well. Everton are really grateful to have received him. We will look after him. You know, we'll make sure that he hopefully becomes a player that we believe he can be, and the reason why we've paid a record fee to Rangers. And I think Rangers fans are really happy that he's come to a club like Everton with, you know, good morals, treat the community well. You know, one of the things that Nathan Patterson, you know, has worked with is suicide prevention, which is something that I am absolutely, you know, passionate about myself. So, you know, to see that we've brought in a player that I can instantly relate to, albeit he's 9 years younger than me, He's absolutely brilliant, and I'm thoroughly chuffed about this signing. I really am. Some people might think it's a little bit much. I actually think it's a bargain. I think this is a bargain for a very good right back with age on his side, with some pedigree of Europe and playing in international football. 16 million quid is a snip. It's an absolute snip. And you know, when you go over to the left hand side, and we've signed a 22-year-old Mikalenko, who again has got that exactly the same qualities I would say Patterson has. There's no real risk. You know, 20, 25, 30, 35 million pound for these two players, whether it be upfront fees or whether you add them all on. It's good business. It's good business, and it's business that Everton have needed to do. Everton have needed a right back for 5 years. I hope that Patterson doesn't necessarily get the pressure. I hope he's given time to settle in. As I say, he's 20. He's very young. But look how exciting it looks for next season. You know, we've got two aggressive left and right backs. We've got two young centre-halves in Ben Godfrey and Jared Bramthwaite. You know, maybe he'll play a 3-5-2 at times. But, you know, this is an Everton team now which is got youth on its side. And I'm not going to say that can't be dangerous, because it can. And where we are currently in the league is not great. And you'd probably say you'd prefer experience in there. But when the experienced players aren't good enough, you have to rely on talented young players, and that is exactly what Everton have gone and bought. So, absolutely thrilled, over the moon, and I think it's real progress, because Mashiri has been not great, in my opinion, as an owner. I think the director of football was poor. I think Bill Kenwright's not been great. Rafa Benitez has 3 points in 36 is a disgrace. But at least the recruitment looks like it's on point right now, and whoever that is down to, credit to them, because they appear to have got this one right, so happy days. Let's move on to some potential more incomings. Everton have been linked with Ross Barkley, again, centre midfielder, ball carrying midfielder. I don't need to go into it too much. I'm not for Barkley coming back. My issue is we do need a player, and centre midfielders who aren't getting loads of games, who are at a decent level, I don't think there's loads of them about. And we specifically need, in my opinion, a type of a ball carrying midfielder. We need a ball carrier, because Takure, if he goes forwards, he leaves out Allen. Allen, I don't know whether this was a mistake, signing someone who is the wrong side of, say, 29, 30, but doesn't have that legs and gets overrun in midfield. Takure's fine going forward, but his decision-making at times can be poor. And I just think we need an extra body in that midfield to stop us getting overrun, playing a 4-3-3, which is absolutely fine. And that actually allows for your full-backs, your left and right back to go forward and deliver that ball. So I'm all for that. Your issue you have is it's got to be the right player. And that player has to be somebody who can battle and can do a job everywhere. I do think a player of Ross's, not ability, but of his build would be perfect. Pick up the ball, beat people, shoot or pass. That is exactly what Everton need, and I don't necessarily want it to be Ross Barkley, but I want it to be someone with the same characteristics. That's the right word, characteristics. Who is prepared to grind, graft, work hard. And look, if it is Ross Barkley, and if he does come back, and if he is a success, then happy days. But if it's not, it's just going to be another sort of sad ending to what is a boyhood blue, who personally I think he shafted us. I know there's other fans that don't, and that's fine. But for me, I've got reservations about it. His injury record, his games at Villa last season. So I do question that. Everton have also been... There's a few players that could be leaving this window. Tom Davies has been linked with a move away. Mason Holgate and Luca Dean. And two names have dropped into the Luca Dean conversation over the last day or so. One is Newcastle as a potential destination for Luca Dean. I'd be shocked if that happens for several reasons. But one, Luca Dean is too good for Newcastle right now. I'm not saying Newcastle won't be a mega team in 5 years' time. I personally don't think they've learned Everton's lesson by going to signing Trippier for so much money. But Luca Dean right now is better than Newcastle. And I don't want it to really hinder his chances of, playing in World Cups and whatever and playing games for France by potentially playing in the Championship next season. Because as much as Newcastle fans might be really excited and really buoyant about the future of their club, and rightly so, you should be. They've had a massive investment in money. They should be hopeful about the future. But I just think there's too much for them to do. I think the manager's the wrong manager. And I think, although I think Luca Dean would fit under an Eddie Howe style of football, I think defensively it's gonna kill him. And Luca Dean isn't the best defender. And that's not me criticising him, but he's better going forward than he is backwards. So Newcastle, for me, isn't a good fit. Chelsea apparently only want to loan him, which Everton should be sticking fingers up to. You want a right back, come and get him. And Inter Milan apparently have waived their interest in Luca Dean. So it does look like potentially Newcastle is the only option. Now, Luca Dean's in the driving seat, really, because by all accounts, him and Rafa have had a fallout. Rafa made a show of himself the weekend by not playing Luca Dean and playing Coleman at right back. People have said, I want players who are going to play for the club, and you've got to think on a very direct level. Yes, fans pay footballers' wages, and Luca Dean should absolutely be, all over us as in a player. We pay his wages, we look after him, etc., etc., etc. But the fact of the matter is, a football career is very short, and if you fall out with people, it can hinder your career. And I genuinely think Luca Dean's in that box now. I think this falling out with Rafa Benitez could go one or two ways for him. He could either leave, go to a Chelsea, go to a Champions League club and excel, do brilliant. He could go to Newcastle and play in the Championship. And that's your risky face. That is the risky face, and Luca Dean's in a really shit situation, really. So, look, I wish Luca Dean the best. I don't think he'll be here come the end of January. I think if it had to be a loan to Chelsea, I think it would be, with an obligation to buy for, say, 20 million in the summer. But I think Everton would prefer the cash. And it just depends on how much we need it. And I don't know the answer to that, because I didn't think we'd spend any money in January, and we've spent 30 million. So who knows? Another player linked with a move away is Mason Holgate. This has been mentioned a couple of times now, but a new club have come into the equation, and that's Burnley. Burnley have had several centre-backs over the years that have gone on to be great players. Tarkowski was linked with Leicester. And if that move happened in January, it wouldn't surprise me if Mason Holgate went to Burnley. That's probably his level. And that's not me digging out Burnley. They're 6 points below us, 7 points below us. But Mason Holgate has gone from here in my expectations to here. I really believed that this kid was going to be brilliant, and unfortunately it hasn't worked out. And I think a club like Burnley, with a manager like Sean Dyche, will teach him the fundamentals, the basics, the art of being a combative centre-half. With that little ability that Mason's got to carry the ball out and pick a pass, I think he could make him a really good centre-half. Because although Mason Holgate's attitude disgusts me, and what happened at the game on Sunday, rumours, I haven't heard this to be true, but I've heard it from a few people now, so it's not usually smoke without fire. But apparently he told a lady and a young fan in the Gladys Street to shut the fuck up, which is unacceptable if he has said that. And I hope that the club and him apologise to the fans, whether it be publicly or whatever. I'm not bothered, but if that's true, he needs to apologise. So you know, maybe the relationship now is done with Mason Holgate. Personally, I'm more done with Michael Keane. But on the basis of both of them not being very good centre-halves, you're asking me, you know, who's more viable to be sold? I think it's probably Mason. I think Mason would probably is probably an easier sell just because he's a little bit younger as well. So I don't know. I could see that one happening. Maybe 10 million for Holgate. I think John Joe Kenny will go because there's no point having 3 right backs, especially when one is the club captain, which is a similar situation to what Patterson's in at Rangers, albeit was at Rangers, albeit I think Patterson will get in the team over Coleman. And again, it's going to be interesting who will be the captain going forward, because, you know, this is a very different Everton side. A lot of the players haven't been there for more than 2 years, really. It's almost a completely different team. So you've got Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison, Damari Gray. That would be my front three. My midfield would be Allen, Doucouré and another. As of right now, it would have to be Gomez, but that, trust me, that's not out of choice. That's out of what we've got. And then my back four would be the 2 young left and right backs, Ben Godfrey and Jadon Branthwaite. And my goalkeeper is Jordan Pickford. Captain looks like it's Jordan Pickford. Because there's not much leadership in there. You could give it to Allen. I don't know how good he is with his English. I think he speaks English. I'm sure I've seen him do an interview in English, but maybe it's him. I really don't know who the captain would be for Everton, but it could be interesting. Could be an interesting period. So, look, guys, that's my video for today. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's always good to get on and just do a little update, a little transfer update. And look, it's good news. Signed 2 really good players in the first 4 days of the window. Hopefully, we go and get that centre midfielder and maybe a little Brucey bonus at the end of the window as well. Who knows? Guys, I'm leaving it there. Have a good one. Keep smiling up, Toffees, please.